You know, folks, I know this has been talked about over the past five something days already. In fact, it's still getting talked about even 2 days later, 24 hours later, and it's not just here in the States, but it's around the world too. And it's just I just find it so pathetic on theaters' parts. Now I'm not trying to judge. Now okay, let me rephrase that. I think it's pathetic on some theaters' parts that they don't seem to notice something's not right. Let me explain. Let me explain. Years for the past, God, I think what, 3 years out of this decade, if not even more so, you've had movies around the country, family films, if you will, that instead of being shown as they're scheduled to be shown in theaters, instead you end up getting 5, 6, maybe 10 minutes of something that's not appropriate. It happened many times. In the UK, in Nottingham, they tried to show Madagascar. Instead, what they get? They got frick, they got freaking Paranormal Activity 3 for a few minutes. What's another incident? That Shia LaBeouf film that was a two-parter, that Nymphomaniac, basically that weird sex film that he was in. That got shown, or at least a preview of it did, instead of another family film, and I can't think what that family film was. It may have been Frozen, it may have been Wreck-It Ralph, I don't really know. And that was in Tampa. Okay? That was in Tampa. And then earlier this year, here in California, and in several other states, drive-in theaters, either in Sacramento, Concord, wherever, and I'm sure in other states here in the country, all got in a huge amount of trouble. Well, not a huge amount of trouble, but into a huge controversy of trouble because of the fact that some of them were showing side by side 50 Shades of Grey with SpongeBob SquarePants. The drive-in in Concord, or near Concord, and was showing, and I think there's like a two to three screen, maybe 4 screen drive-through, or drive-in, not drive-through, but drive-in, two to 3 screen drive-in, and instead of kids trying to pay attention to SpongeBob, their attention was getting diverted with 50 Shades of Grey being shown right in back of them. And if that's not enough, how about in Sacramento, you're walking out of a skate park or indoor skate park and you see 50 Shades of Grey being shown on the big screen? Doesn't seem like a good idea, does it? Now, true, a lot of these drive-in theaters did what they could to fix that by moving the showings to different screens and whatever, but still, come on, seriously. But again, what does this all have in common? Especially when you take a look at them being shown either instead of a children's family movie or side by side with them. It shows you how truly pathetic some theaters and drive-ins are when they're not paying attention to detail, when they're not organized. And if you want to know what I mean, the latest chapter in this tops it all off. 5 days ago in Southwest Ohio, a movie theater, I don't know if this was in Cincinnati, I don't know if this was in the suburb of Cincinnati. I don't know where it was. Okay? I don't know really where it was. But anyway. Families, a bunch of families, I guess it was a group presentation, some kind of a group raid or something, took all the kids, majority being preschoolers, to go see Inside Out, which I have seen and I actually enjoyed. And my mom, I think, is going to go see it again with my older sister and her family this week. I would see it too, but I work. Anyway. These groups of parents, like I said, I'm sure it was some kind of a group raid or something. They're going to take the kids to see Inside Out. But instead, what happens? The same kind of crap that happened before, numerous years before this. It happened, like I said, with Nottingham, in the United Kingdom, with the whole Paranormal Activity 3 being shown instead of Madagascar 3. It happened in Tampa with that Shia LaBeouf sex movie being shown instead, or preview of it being shown instead of the movie that was supposed to be shown. I don't know if it was, like I said, I don't know if it was Frozen or Wreck-It Ralph, or it might have been a DreamWorks film. I don't really know. And then, to top that off, you have, like I said, the 50 Shades of Grey being shown simultaneously, side by side with family movies like SpongeBob back in February. Well, like I said, the latest chapter in this crazy scenario happened 5 days ago, when instead of parents and their kids, mostly preschoolers, that's what some of the articles said, going to see Inside Out, they ended up seeing the first 5-6 minutes of Insidious 3. Now, some proclaim it was a preview, but Insidious 3 came out about a week or two before. Anyway, for the first 5 minutes, instead of seeing Inside Out, they saw Insidious 3. Now, according to the theater, the projector made the projectionist, the person that puts the film on there, made a mistake. How can you make a mistake like that? I mean, true, both movies start with the INSID, and that's it. The only difference is Inside Out is 2 separate words for its title. Insidious is 1 full word and a number. So how can you mistake that? Unless you're somebody that can't, no offense to anybody that has to, unless you're somebody that needs reading glasses, especially when you work. I should say that because I'm going to need to get glasses myself someday. Very soon, I should say. But the point is, why would you, unless you didn't have your prescription glasses on to read, to correctly make sure what film you are putting in, how could you miss that? How could you miss doing that? And sometimes I wonder if all this being done is not accidents. You know, from what happened in Nottingham, in Tampa, you know, the 50 Shades of Grey controversy back in February, to now. I'm wondering if this is nothing more than some young kids or young teenagers, adolescents, that get jobs for the summer, you know, at these theaters, and they're just trying to be smartasses, and they're trying to play pranks on people, saying, oh, let's give them a jolt. Let's put this in for the first 5 minutes and give them a jolt. That would be funny. Seriously, I'm wondering if that's the case. Because if that is, then you people behind this, if that is the case, let me say this. For those that, if that is the case, for all that has happened, you people need to take responsibility for what you've done. This ain't not some kind of game you can just prank people on. I mean, what are you, part of some kind of prank organization online where you just say, okay, at your job, here's your assignment for a prank. play first 5 minutes of horror movie instead of family movie. Seriously, is that what you do? For fun? For laughs? Because you're bored? Because you're just standing there going like, okay, how many times do I have to see this movie? I gotta spice things up. What do I do? Seriously, my job can be repetitive, but at least I enjoy it. I enjoy my job. I enjoy helping customers. I enjoy doing what I have to do to help that store out. But I never, ever risk playing a prank or a joke just because I'm bored. I don't chance on trying to spice things up because it's repetitive. Now I'm not saying this is the case, but I just find it too ironic that within this decade alone, we have had every movie, every family movie that's been in this scenario, every situation that's been in this scenario with every family movie. I think the one in Tampa may have been the Rio movie. I'm not really sure. Maybe Rio 2. But anyway, I just find it too ironic that this is all happening. It seems like, and what's crazy is it seems to happen towards late spring and in the summer, when a lot of teenagers are out of work. How convenient, or not out of work, but out of school. How convenient. And oh, they got more hours to work with. How convenient. Seriously. If you guys think that's what's fun, then maybe you ought to get a job someplace else. Because let's face facts. It's not fun scaring people. It's not fun getting your theater on the news and putting them in hot water. But again, I'm just giving my opinion on what I feel is the real possible reason. Now, true, it could have been accidental, but how many times can things be accidental? Seriously. I mean, what's going to happen next? Later on this year, what's going to happen? I mean, I want you to notice this too. I want you to notice this. You don't hear about this much during the fall or the winter. You don't hear about it. Even during the holiday season, you don't hear about it. You don't hear much about it during the winter and early spring. And even the winter to mid-spring. You don't hear much about it. And that was my Kindle that went off. You don't hear about it from winter to mid-spring. But as soon as we get into late spring and into the summer, you hear a lot about it. You know, like I said, you don't hear about much of this kind of stuff. Yes, earlier this year, the SpongeBob 50 Shades of Grey and Drive-In deal. Yeah, we heard about that. People have talked about that. But again, you don't hear much about those kind of things. But you don't hear much about those kind of things at all during those time frames. But during the late spring and summer, how convenient. How convenient, huh? It's like timing couldn't be better. You know when I read an article like this, it really makes me mad. It really does. Because it's truly pathetic. It's pathetic on the theater's parts for not catching these when they should. It's pathetic on the theater's parts and the drive-in's parts for, like I said, not catching it when they should. And for hiring the people that they put in those projection booths, especially during the late spring and summer. I think it's truly pathetic. Because if you want to come out and say that what happens, that when something like this happens is an accident and an oversight, there's an old saying, you can cry wolf as much, you can only cry wolf as many times as you can before no one believes you. And in my opinion, I think it's nothing more than a lot of youngsters that got jobs at these theaters that probably got bored, wanted to spice things up, and decided to play a little prank. Even if they knew it was going to probably traumatize kids, get parents upset, probably put the company, the employer, in hot water. It's truly pathetic. But again, these are just my opinions. But I think I'm dead on about it. You know, these theaters in Florida, Southwest Ohio, these drive-ins here in California, Northern California, in Oregon, and wherever else, in Nottingham, in the United Kingdom, you can all come out and say what you want to say. You can all say they were accidents. The truth of the matter is, you know the truth. And you know damn well, and you've probably taken care of it already, that it was because whoever you hired to be a projectionist in that booth because they needed a summer job. You know damn well that they were trying to play a prank. They were trying to spice things up. How hard is it for a movie theater not to keep their cans of the film, the numerous cans of film of the movie they're going to show organized in one area? How hard is that? Seriously. If you got one theater assigned to Inside Out and another theater assigned to Insidious 3, how difficult is that? I mean, if one theater has Insidious 3 all the way down on the other side of the building, and Inside Out is all the way on the other side, how would you be able to mix that up? You wouldn't. You wouldn't. So I'm just going to say this. It's my opinion, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I might be wrong about this, but you know what? I think I'm dead on when I say the theaters and drive-ins behind all these incidences over the past 4, 5, 6 years, and even recently, you guys know the truth. You know what happened. I mean, because doesn't anybody find it ironic that the owners of the cinemas these cinemas and drive-thrus or drive-ins don't always want to comment? Don't you find it kind of ironic? I do, because they know what really happened, and they don't want to come out and say. They want to make up an excuse. Well, like I said, you can cry wolf so many times before nobody believes you. So, that's all I'm going to say on this. Let me know what you guys think down below. Do you agree with my opinions on it? Or do you think maybe it was an accident? Let me know down below. Comment if you like. I am out.